Welcome delegates and policy staff members to the Massachusetts Developmental Disabilities Council, MDDC, Forum on Medicaid. We appreciate you taking the time to be with us here today. My name is Jossie Burks Abbott, and I'm a citizen member of the MDDC, as well as the Policy Committee Chairperson. I'm also on the autism spectrum. The Council's mission is to provide opportunities for individuals with developmental disabilities and families to enhance independence, productivity, and inclusion. This forum is a valuable opportunity for Massachusetts delegates to hear directly from their constituents. We are here today to talk about Medicaid, why the program matters to our community, and how any cuts will impede our ability to lead meaningful and productive lives. Let's take a moment to review the agenda. Next slide. Next slide.
Yep.
We will begin with brief introductions. Then we will have a short presentation about Medicaid. Next, we will hear council and constituent stories about Medicaid going in order of congressional district, and we'll close with a discussion with our delegates and or their policy staff members. Now, I invite the delegates and their policy staff members to introduce themselves.
Christine, can we go back to the grid?
Or let's go by congressional district. Congressional District 1.
One. I believe we have Bella Ito here today from Congressman McGovern's office.
Yes, yep. I'm Bella. Hi, everyone. I'm with Congressman McGovern in Massachusetts 2nd Congressional District. I handle his health, education, and judiciary portfolios. And I'm very happy to be with you all. Thanks for having us.
And
delegates or representatives that we have here today.
we have Allison from Congresswoman Trahan's office, I believe.
So Allison, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm Allison. I'm the CHCI Health Fellow with Lori Trahan, and I work on the health portfolio.
And I believe we have Stephanie Gray from Congressman Auchincloss' office.
Hi, thank you. I'm Stephanie Gray. I'm Congressman Auchincloss's Constituent Services Manager, and I handle his healthcare portfolio in the district, among other things. So thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here.
And I believe we have Brenna Groats from Congressman Moulton's office.
Yep. Hi, I'm Brenna Goss. I'm from Rep Moulton's office.
sorry.
No worries. I'm his health policy staffer.
And I believe we have Monique Vaz from Congressman Lynch's office.
Hello, everyone. I'm Monique Vaz. I'm Congressman Lynch's legislative assistant. And I want to say thank you so much for inviting us here. I think this is an important conversation. It's also very timely given everything that's happened this week. So I'm very excited to learn more.
And we also have, is it Tara Wilson from Senator Markey's office today? And I understand Senator Markey might be able to pop in at some point.
That's right. Hi, everybody. Tara Wilson, Policy Advisor for Senator Markey. I oversee his work on the Health Committee, Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions. And we should have the Senator popping on at some point after 4:15. So I know he's excited to talk with all of you.
Fabulous. Jossie, do you mind if I hop in for just a second and ask Christine to unspotlight so that we can see everybody in a grid so that council members can also introduce themselves? Actually, let's keep spotlight on while council members introduce themselves, and then we'll do a picture. We want to do a picture with everybody.
Well, first it'll be after the staff. So now I guess I would invite each council member to introduce themselves and say what town you're from. And just to make it easier, I will congressional district, and then you introduce yourself and say where you live. So Congressional District 1.
Jossie, I'm going to hop in just 1 second. We also have Adam from Senator Warren's office.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Want to introduce yourself?
Adam,
Yeah.
go ahead.
No worries. Yeah, my name is Adam. I'm a legislative correspondent on Senator Warren's healthcare team. I might have my camera off for a bit. I caught a cold and I'm working from home. So yeah.
All right, Jossie, go ahead. Thank you, Adam.
Have the council members introduce themselves, and we'll start with Congressional District 1. Introduce yourself and say what town you're from.
And
Hi.
that would be Tamara Huntley.
Hi, I'm Tamara, and I'm glad to be here today. And I live in Ludlow, and I work for the council as a self-advocacy liaison.
Congressional District 2.
Priscilla.
Hi, I'm Priscilla Bessa. I'm a citizen council member, and we live in Northborough.
Congressional
Thank you.
3.
That's okay. Cynthia's not here, able to be here last minute. Something happened, so she's not here from District 3 this evening, unfortunately. She couldn't be with us.
District 4.
It's Paul.
Paul's muted, so Paul, I'm sorry if you're introducing yourself. We can't hear you right now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. My name's Paul Lutfi, and I'm from Milford, Mass. And I have a son with cerebral palsy.
District 5.
Hi everyone,
I
good
can hear.
afternoon. My name is Austin. I'm a Citizens Council member, and I am from Winthrop, if I didn't already say that. Thank you.
And District 6, which happens to be my district, but I know there's someone else.
My name is Alana Russo, and I am a council member of the MDDC,
Where do you live?
Bedford.
We
All right, now.
Can we
Now-
spotlight Alana real quick? For some reason, she didn't come up when she was speaking. There we go.
Hi.
Yes.
I'm from Bedford.
Yes, we're neighbors. Well, almost neighbors. Bedford. Anyway, I'll have the staff introduce themselves now.
Oh, we have still, did we do Tatiana from District 7 yet?
Yes. Oh no, we did. Oh, 7. 7.
That's okay.
So, hi everyone. I'm a council member and a college student from Somerville.
I think we have 2 more, Jossie.
Thanks,
All right.
Tatiana. Well, I'm Caitlin, and I live in District 8. I live in Canton, Massachusetts. I'm also staff. I work on the policy team with the Massachusetts Developmental Disabilities Council, and my brother has Down syndrome. So I'm really grateful for everyone here so we can talk about this today.
One more, Jossie.
District 8.
Hi, I'm Sandra Heller, and I am from Marion, Mass. I am a council member, a member at large on the executive committee, and I have a son who lives in Fairhaven, Mass, who was born with Down syndrome.
Caitlin, you've introduced yourself. I'd like to introduce themselves. So Jennifer, want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Thanks, Jossie. My name is Jennifer Bertrand. I'm the Deputy Director here at the Massachusetts Developmental Disabilities Council.
Josh?
Thank you so much, Jossie, for doing such a great job introducing everyone. Hi, everyone. My name is Josh Gladstone, and I am the Disability Policy Specialist at the Massachusetts Developmental Disability Council. I'm very excited to be here and see everyone.
Christian? Christine?
Sorry, I'm usually the one who's spotlighting. I'm Christine Joel, Administrative Services Coordinator at the Mass DD Council. I'm glad to be here today.
Jackson.
Hi everyone, I'm Jackson Crilly. I'm the MDDC's Communications Coordinator. It's lovely to be here and see everyone.
Jossie, we have a couple of additional council members here. So I see Raquel.
Okay, so let's, Raquel, want to introduce yourself, say what town you're from?
Hi, my name is Raquel Quesada. I'm the chairperson. I'm from Haverhill, and I'm a parent of a child with 19. He has cerebral palsy. Thank you for allowing me to be here today. And I'm driving. Sorry about that.
All right. And who else is here?
That's everyone. Is there someone we missed?
Oh, Andre.
Oh,
So Andre, you want to introduce yourself and say what town you live in?
So my name is Andre Williams. I live in Somerville, which is the 7th Congressional District, and I'm also a part of the council. I am also a self-advocacy liaison.
So if that's, we've all made our introductions, let's now take a picture, a Zoom picture. Can you help us with that, Jackson?
Yeah, definitely.
So I'll get ready, gallery view, and do a Zoom picture.
Great. 3, 2, 1. All right, let me just grab one more just in case. All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. And now we'll have a brief presentation about Medicaid. You, Jennifer.
thank you. Let me bring this up. Am I sharing my screen? 1 second. Thank you for your patience. And if when Senator Markey is able to hop on, we'll do another picture for sure. Looking forward to seeing him and appreciate everyone taking the time to be here. We know it's a busy time in Washington and things have been quite hectic. We just wanted to touch on a few points about Medicaid and specifically how it relates to and impacts people with developmental disabilities and people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. As you may be aware, the Medicaid program, it's a public program that provides healthcare and long-term supports and services. The federal government provides funding to help fund state Medicaid programs, and Medicaid serves eligible people with disabilities, people that don't make a lot of money, children and older adults. And as you know, there are Medicaid programs in every state, and more than 2/3 of Medicaid of the Medicaid long-term supports and services are delivered in home and community-based settings, also known as HCBS. And this is really important to people with disabilities and the members. What's that? Did someone say something? Members of our council and their families that are here today. To help you become a little bit more informed, here are some services that Medicaid provides for home and community-based services, the waivered programs. HCBS provides direct support professionals. These are the people that help people with disabilities, people with developmental and other disabilities, be able to do all the activities of daily life, eating, drinking, getting dressed, and so they can maybe go to work. Medicaid also provides employment services like job coaching and supported employment. Medicaid helps with home modifications, so people's homes can be accessible, and also assistive technology. Things like ramps, doors, or devices that help those who are non-speaking to be able to communicate. Medicaid also helps to provide support to caregivers and provide things like respite. Payment for certain services and schools are also provided by Medicaid. Medicaid to schools, you might have heard of that before. And this is for students, eligible students with disabilities, to get things like occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech, and behavioral supports. And of course, accessible transportation to like medical appointments. These are all very critical to be able to do all the things that any of us do day to day. There are two main categories of Medicaid services. We've got the set of mandatory stuff, things that are required federally. These are things like medical visits, maybe care in a hospital, nursing homes or institutions. And then there are non-mandatory services. HCBS, the home and community-based services, are an example of non-mandatory services. So if there were cuts or per capita caps to Medicaid, states have the option to fund or not fund, or fund to a certain point for those non-mandatory services. So this cuts to Medicaid and caps to Medicaid would jeopardize people with disabilities' ability to live in the community, to continue working. So that is of great concern. As you know, back in 2014, there was the Medicaid expansion. And as you see on this map, we know that most states adopted the Medicaid expansion, and of course the federal match. Feds pay much more. I believe it's about 90% of Medicaid, and states had that option to choose to opt in or not. And so here we see the states here. We're going to make this slide deck available after today's forum, as well as a recording of the forum today as well, and provide you with a toolkit, Medicaid toolkit that you can use to have discussions in Washington when you're talking about the budget and you're talking about the Medicaid program. Here's a little slide here that tells a little bit about the federal share. You probably can imagine, and I know that you have been discussing this in Washington, cuts or caps would put a great funding strain on states. And that is, of course, a concern. Medicaid in Massachusetts, we call it the MassHealth program. And here's a little slide that shows you a little bit about the numbers, about who is covered. Caitlin, I know you helped to put this, or you put this slide together. Would you mind hopping in and talking a little bit about the graphic?
Yeah, sure. And I want to give credit where it's due to Josh, who I think also might have put this one together, but you're also welcome to hop in, Josh. So when we were just looking at coverage for Medicaid in Massachusetts, looking at about 1.7 million people enrolled in Medicaid. This includes plenty of adults and children with disabilities. The Kaiser Family Foundation, KFF, had provided this graphic. They have a lot of state fact sheets on Medicaid. And this is kind of a recent estimate of who's getting Medicaid here. It includes, 2 in 9 adults under the age of 65, 1 in 3 children, 3 in 5 nursing home residents, 1 in 4 Medicare beneficiaries, or those dual eligibles, and 4 in 9 people with disabilities. So when we're talking about it as a lifeline, it's a pretty substantial population who are currently relying on it. And obviously plenty more people could and would benefit as well. So Jennifer, I think that's it for this slide. Did you want me to weigh in on anything else specifically?
I think that's good, and I want to be mindful of the time. And I know that folks here today are very knowledgeable about things, so I don't want to, over present on the topic of Medicaid. So I think we can move forward. So what could changes mean? If there's not enough funding, not everyone with developmental disabilities in Massachusetts would be able to access support. And many families, individuals and families that need services are waiting. If there are more cuts to Medicaid, even more people, be waiting for help that they need. And some non-mandatory programs, like we talked about, the home and community-based services, HCBS, could receive less funding. And there could be longer wait times for services, and also fewer direct care workers. Those are the people that help individuals with developmental and other disabilities to be able to do those activities of daily living. With without supports, people would definitely be at a higher risk for living in institutions. It could be very difficult for parents who are still for individuals who are adults that are still living at home with parents who are still working. If the individual doesn't have the support they need, it would make it impossible for them to go to work. They might have to consider leaving their job, and it could put them at much greater financial risk to be able to make ends meet and support their family member. This is from the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, the cbpp.org. And this is a scenario to show the impact of a per capita cap. Over time, the difference between the amount that federal government would pay to help support Medicaid programs is far less than the actual cost of healthcare. So it would make it more financially challenging for states to be able to continue to offer the Medicaid services they offer today if federally the feds paid less and less as time goes on. And this could lead to states or incentivizing states to aggressively limit either eligibility or spending for population, for this type of population, which would impact people with disabilities and of course seniors as well. And we have all of this cited with links in the presentation. These are a couple of additional resources that we want to provide for you. The National Association of Councils on Developmental Disabilities is here, linked to them. And then of course we have the ASAN Autistic Self-Advocacy Network. They have a great, easy to read and plain language guide about Medicaid, understanding Medicaid, and then potential impacts to Medicaid if funding federally were cut or capped, like in a per capita cap, and there are the references. All right, Jossie, I'm all set. You can take it back over.
Jossie, you're
Jossie,
muted.
you're muted.
Sorry.
That's okay.
And I just received a message. Senator Markey's hoping that he can join the Zoom soon, so we'll be watching for when he arrives.
Okay, all right. Well, now we're going to hear some stories from constituents about why Medicaid matters to them, and we'll go in order of congressional district. In the interest of time, we ask that delegates and their policy staff members save their questions until the discussion portion. So we will start with District 1.
Good afternoon, Mass delegates. My name is Tamara Huntley. I live in Ludlow, Mass. I'm speaking to you today out of concern for how budget cuts to Medicaid would impact me and my family. I'm a widow with cerebral palsy, and I live with my 2 children with learning disabilities. Sorry about that. Thanks for your patience. And I'm concerned that MassHealth is in jeopardy of undergoing changes and financial limitations that would affect my life drastically. I rely on personal care attendants to work for me in order to live independently in my home. I also rely on them for all my daily living tasks, including grocery shopping, cooking, laundry, and keeping a clean home, getting in and out of bed, and getting ready for work in the morning. If I did not have MassHealth, I would not be able to afford a personal care attendant, so I wouldn't be able to live in my own home that I pay the mortgage for. Along with my PCA program, I would not have access to good health care that I need to continue to live independently, and there would be no access to community programs that my children need to support their disabilities, such as speech therapy and occupational therapy. In my career, I train people with intellectual and developmental disabilities to advocate for themselves, which empowers them. I'm not only advocating for myself, but I'm also advocating for the participants whom I train. I believe in supporting the right to make healthy choices while advocating for the independence of people with disabilities. The passage of these budget cuts would not only affect me and my family, but also the thousands of others who depend on MassHealth. Thank you for your time.
Well, thank you for your testimony, Tamara. I'm now District 2.
Hi. I'm a parent of a child with complex medical needs. And being a parent of a child with complex medical needs is quite a challenge. Dealing with health insurance is one of the biggest difficulties we face. Medical complex kids depend on health insurance, Medicaid, daily, even to meet their basic needs. Having cuts on Medicaid, it's not an option for those kids. Our family moved to Massachusetts seeking for health treatment, the best we could have, after our daughter was diagnosed by 18 months old with a rare neurological disorder called Rett syndrome. Rett syndrome is a severe and progressive condition that affects her ability to walk, talk, learn, use her hands, eat, sleep, and even breathe. She's also affected by refractory epilepsy, cortical visual impairment, and autism. The complexity of her symptoms would require multiple hospital visits with many specialists, genetic testing, all kinds of exams, long-term, physical, occupational, speech, vision, and behavior therapy, a dietary plan, a special enteral formula for G-tube, an extensive list of medication, innumerable medical supplies, adaptive equipment, in-home nursing support with daily living and medical needs. Basically, most of her needs would rely on MassHealth, Medicaid, and cuts on Medicaid funds will dramatically impact my daughter's life and also my ability to continue to be working without having in-home nurse to care for her.
Jossie, before we go on to the next story, and I think Jackson's going to share the link so that I can bring it up for Cynthia since she couldn't be with us here tonight. I wanted you to know that Senator Markey has arrived.
Oh, okay. Well, welcome, Senator Markey. Would you like to introduce yourself? Welcome. Thanks for coming.
Hello, everybody.
All right, I guess we'll hear on District 3 from Cynthia.
Oh, did Senator Markey, did you want to say hello or introduce yourself?
Hi. Good to see all of you. Thank you. Thank you for your advocacy. Just absolutely critical. I've got my team on as well. Tara and her whole team in health is on as well. And I thank you for, inviting me to join you here today. I'm going to tell you this. I'm from Malden, and Donald Trump is bringing the Malden out in me every single day with these cruel cuts, the chaos which he's creating, and the harm which he wants to inflict upon people. So I just wanted to let you know, I'm going to lead the fight against any cuts to Medicaid. Any cuts to Medicaid. It's an absolute guarantee that should be out there for everyone. I'm also going to vote no on all of Trump's nominees. They're all part of a cartel to dismantle the government. I've led a letter with President Trump in opposition to any cuts of Medicare or Medicaid, including those cuts that are being made by the Doge boys that are rumbling through all of these agencies. I'm going to oppose any work requirements or other cuts that make it more difficult for people to get health care. The administration is actually a Make America Sick Again administration. I mean, it's absolutely absurd what it is that they're trying to do. I'm the health subcommittee chairman in the Senate, but I serve on the education committee as well. They want to slash money for education for kids with disabilities, and just push it all the way down to the property rates of like kind of blue collar and poor communities. Like they already don't have enough on their plate to figure out how to provide for all of the communities. So the Senate has passed a resolution. The House has passed their resolution now. But we were up all night putting Republicans on the record for that vote. And we made them vote on dozens and dozens of amendments to prevent the cuts to Medicare and Medicaid. So we put them all on record. Now, the House has passed a different budget resolution that would enable the House to cut $880 billion in funding, and that has to come out of Medicare and Medicaid. So the House is now going to work together to create one budget resolution with the Senate, and the Republicans are pushing hard for cuts to Medicaid, and any cut that makes it harder to get healthcare services is too big of a cut. And they're gonna be out now exposed on the specific aspect of it. So I thank all of you. I'm sorry I had to jump on late. It's just a crazy time on the Hill, but just wanted to let you know that that your stories are important, and obviously I had my staff on so I can know how these cuts would directly impact your lives. And if you have friends or you have, others who are going to be affected, please get them involved, because fighting against the work requirements is going to be hard. But we can win it. The Republicans are going to try to paint the job requirements that are necessary to get people to go to work. But we know that's not true. We know that work requirements just mean a cut to Medicaid and make it harder to get health care. So thank you all for everything that you're doing. And I don't know if you have any questions for me, but just wanted to join you and let you know I'm going to have your back every single day on the floor of the Senate.
I really appreciate that. I'm looking forward to hearing more from you when we get to a discussion part, because now we actually have a few more stories from our constituents. Jennifer, you said you had a video or a tape from Cynthia?
Well, I think we'll hold Cynthia's story for after, since we're a little over time, but can we get a group picture? Christine, can we go back to all the folks so we can get a picture with Senator Markey while he's able to be here with us? And thank you again. We know it's been extremely hectic in Washington, and we are so grateful that you were able to take the time to come and say hello, hear some of the stories, and update us. We really value your leadership, and it's exciting to know that you are advocating for Medicaid. All right, Jackson, are you there? Can you do?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so I'm just going to take another screenshot. So, ready, 3, 2, 1. All right, thank you, everyone, and thank you, Senator Markey, for joining us.
Thank you.
So Josie, if you want to take it back over, we're going to skip over Cynthia since she couldn't be here. If there's extra time at the end, we could share a written story with some photos if we have extra time. I think we're on to District 4. Paul.
Yeah.
My name's Paul Lutfi. I'm from Milford, Mass. I have a 31-year-old son with cerebral palsy. He's a quadriplegic. He's nonverbal, and I've actually got him with me here today. And like people get to see him a little bit. He's watching TV at the moment, but he's here to join us. So he's had his issues in life, and Medicaid's been a very important part of it. Early on, me and my wife actually worked off shifts so we could take care of him. But even back then, we needed PCA hours. So that came through the Medicaid MassHealth. He has multiple health issues. He has a seizure disorder. He's on 4 different meds for his seizures. He's very spastic. He actually got so tight he pulled the hip out and needed an operation. He now has a baclofen pump, and that would be a very expensive medicine. So we're thankful to have Medicaid for that. He does eat. He needs pureed food, but he's not always cooperative, especially when it comes to fluids and medicines. So he's now got a G tube. He will get his suppers, the puree, but all meds and fluids given through the G tube. The important part of the fluids is he had kidney stones from one of the medicines he's on, the Topamax. So the fluids are very important so that he doesn't get the kidney stones again. He lived with us until he was 20 years old, and he's now in a home in Walpole, a group home in Walpole. We made this decision because he's a lot of work lifting and moving, and we're not getting younger. So we decided to put him we decided in a group home. He does come home 2 days a week, at least, in all the holidays. So he's still very much part of our family, but we appreciate the services, that we can get, and all that's because of Medicaid. That's pretty much what I have. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing. Very important. So District 5.
That's Austin.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being here. My name is Austin. I live in Winthrop, and I attend North Shore Community College. And I am going to graduate this spring with my developmental direct support certificate. I am a disability advocate. I am a MDDC council member. And with East of South Massachusetts and the Federation for children with special needs. I also have a part-time job in the community. I have an intellectual disability and also spastic quadriplegic cerebral palsy. Even though we have intellectual disabilities, we are still very worthy people. And we give back to our community. We enrich people's lives. My friend and I founded an organization to provide social and emotional opportunities to adults with disabilities, called Access to Community and Friendship. I want to be I want to be part of my community just like anybody else. We deserve a place in the world, and I need my Medicaid services to help me live my life, such as PCA services with all my ADLs, so shower, getting dressed, and meal prep, and to get out in the community. MassHealth also provides individual support to services that I need, like OT, PT, and speech, and behavioral health services, which I think we all to benefit from after this. Please support Medicaid as this service is an essential service to my life for a fulfilling and meaningful life. And please don't make us fight any harder than we already have. Thank you for your time and service, and we appreciate it. That's all I have.
No,
Thank
thank
you,
you.
everyone.
No, thank you, Austin. Thank you. I think we're on 5 now or 6?
We're on 6.
6. All right, 6. Alana.
Hello. My name is Alana Russo. I live in Bedford, Mass, and in a apartment with Medicaid supports, so I can live as independently as possible. On my free time, I love visiting with family and friends. Scrapbooking is one of my passions. Sophie is my Australian Labradoodle. She is my fur baby, and we are inseparable. Medicaid is important and allows me to be healthy and more independent. Medicaid pays for a home health aide to assist me to maintain and clean my apartment because I have a bad back due to my scoliosis. I was also born at 28 weeks, premature, and have cerebral palsy. Medicaid gives me access to medications, including a life-saving drug called Remicade. This medicine has helped treat my Crohn's disease and reduce costly hospitalization. Medicaid gives me access to healthcare services and medications so I can stay healthy and work. I work at Inspire Cafe in Wakefield, Mass. Working helps me be more independent and gives my life purpose. Earning money helps me to be more financially stable. I love being in the community and my work colleagues. Working makes my life more meaningful. If Medicaid were to cut, it would jeopardize my health and probably my life. I would be at risk for losing my apartment and being placed in a segregated setting like a costly institution. My life, as I know it, would end without access to Medicaid. I would no longer be able to work, live in the community, and direct my life. No one chooses to live in an institution. Every American should have an opportunity for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Without Medicaid, people like me would not be able to live with dignity and a fulfillment life. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Alana. 7, District 7.
Tatiana.
Oh,
Hi, I'm Tatiana. I attend Mass Bay Community College under the Transition Scholars Program. I am also a leader in my community. I'm on the advocacy board for the Federation for Children with Special Needs and the Department of Public Health, where we do work with children with disabilities in the hospitals. I have an intellectual disability. I work at 2 part-time jobs. I work as a customer attendant at Somerville Public Schools. My other job is a customer service rep at CVS Pharmacy. MassHealth is very important to me because it covers all of my healthcare needs. It helps me with doctor's visits and adult dental visits. DDS and Massability also helps me. They were at my IEP meetings. They helped me get job coaches and pay for my college. These supports has been very helpful to get services I need. Now I get to work in my community. I'm even a leader and I give back, including my Latino community. I'm an important connections for other people. I helped start an organization called Access to Community and Friendship. When I get support from MassHealth, it helps me support other people too. Please protect Medicaid.
Thank you, Tatiana. District 8.
Hi everyone, my name's Caitlin and I live in District 8. I live in Canton. I'll keep my remarks fairly quick because we have other good stories to hear. But I'm a sibling, so my brother has Down syndrome. In addition to working with the MDDC, I'm also a PhD student in social policy, where I focus on disability policy and specifically home and community-based services. And frankly, it feels like sometimes you need a PhD in this area to be able to navigate services and supports. I have a lot of concerns for my brother and his life if Medicaid services were reduced in any way. Part of that's because my parents are aging, and our future plan is that my brother is going to live with me. And I think that, where we're heading, we already have so much of our services and supports provided by informal family caregivers. And we're going to run out of that tap. If we cut Medicaid, there's nothing more family caregivers can give. There's nothing more informal supports can do because we're already maxed out. So I'd really just like, I know you're hearing so many good stories. I just want to underscore, this isn't about just people with disabilities. This is about whole communities. And we need Medicaid to be able to continue our lives. And they're all better for it when our families and our loved ones with disabilities are in our community. So thank you for your consideration, and please just keep thinking of us when you're fighting for Medicaid.
Thank you, Caitlin. Sandra.
Hi, thank you for having us all here. I really want to say how much we appreciate, and I know that most of you on this call do know the fight, and we want to be behind you in every way. I'm a parent of a son with Down syndrome. I live in Marion, Mass. My name is Sandra Heller. Craig lives in 2 towns over in Fairhaven, Mass. He has been living in a house with a roommate for going on 11 years. With that, he's able to access his community, work at Market Basket in New Bedford. Without that, I don't know where we would be. I'm a single older mother. And without services such as the home and community-based waivers, which supports him to live in his house with his roommate, and personal care attendant hours, along with Section 8. I mean, we applied for a Section 8 for Craig, and it took him 10 years on a waiting list to finally get a voucher to be able to afford to live there. SNAP benefits that help him and subsidize what he needs to buy for food. Living on SSI is not living in luxury. They barely have enough funding to be able to get through the month. All of these people here are here to say, how can we help to fight the fight? This is unfair, undue justice to a certain amount of people in our society, people that don't have enough funding, people that have disabilities, the elderly, which I'm getting up there, and for children. These aren't services that we can say, oh, we can take cuts and it won't affect us. It's going to affect us deeply. As many have said before, if Craig doesn't have the services to live as independently as possible, be a productive member of society, work, pay taxes, still be on my health insurance and use MassHealth Medicaid secondary, I don't know where our family will be. Everyone's situation is different. I've moved to a different location and actually live with my grown adult in an in-law apartment. We would have to relook at everything and decide how we could support Craig, which would mean many of us having to leave our own income producing jobs to be able to care for our loved ones. Everyone deserves to be safe in their community, and safety first involves being able to live in community successfully with the supports they need. Again, thank you so much for being here. And it was, a pleasure, and what we can do to help is really what I'm looking for at the end of this meeting. How can we make a difference by telling our stories to others and including others to fight this fight?
Thank you, Sandra. Do we have any other stories? I think that was it.
Yes, Cynthia couldn't be with us here tonight. In the interest of time, Jossie, what do you think about moving on to the discussion portion?
So now we'll have the discussion, and we actually have some prepared questions for the delegates and their representatives, and then we can take questions from them. But actually, so I'm gonna kick us off. Since Senator Markey brought up the work requirements in terms of Medicaid, with that question we introduced that would establish work requirements. One in the Senate, which is 447, and the other in the House, 1059. And I was wondering how best, can you go back, how best can we, as advocates, address that? And, I mean, address those bills. And how best can people with DD and their families support leadership, advocate for, and educate the importance of Medicaid?
Oh, great. Well, again, the whole key is we can't agonize. We've got to organize. We need to have everyone in the community raise their voices, educate, especially Republicans, but everybody. I mean, you're going to have to uh, uh, educate Democrats as well as to what the impact is of a work requirement or any of these potential burdens. And that will make them better advocates as well. I mean, I think it's very heartening that we can see that so many congressional offices from Massachusetts are recognized here today on this call. And so, you know, to the extent to which the challenge is going to be, you know, for you to continue to tell your stories, and we're all going to need to hear directly from you. And if you have friends or families in other states, get them involved. You know, have them be fighting against work requirements. We know that the arguments that they're going to make are not true. So we know that it's just going to make it harder to get health care for everyone if they have this, you know, work requirement. And so I'm going to fight against those cuts. I'm very concerned about it. But telling your stories is the best defense, and in insisting that elected officials, their staffs talk to you and have your friends across the country do the same thing is going to be the best thing you can do to ensure that your elected representatives will have the same attitude I have during this fight, which is to protect you at all costs.
All right, well, thank you. Stephanie?
Yeah, thank you. And I just want to echo what Senator Markey said, because, you know, using your voices is the best thing that you all can do. And I want to thank you all for sharing your powerful stories today. Your voices are critical in this conversation. And I want just to convey that Congressman Auchincloss hears you loud and clear. And I'm going to take back your stories and tell him each, and I was taking some notes, so I just wanted to let you know that he will hear these stories. Medicaid is a lifeline for millions of people, and any proposed cuts, especially at this scale, would have devastating consequences for people with disabilities and their families. And I think you all gave us some really concrete stories to bring back to our bosses. And of course, you know, in Massachusetts, just like Senator Markey said, you know, like the Republicans are the ones who need to hear it, but also the Democrats need to hear it as well, because it really does help inform the work that our bosses do. Congressman Auchincloss remains committed to protecting these essential services and will continue fighting to ensure that Medicaid remains strong and accessible for those who need it the most. And your advocacy makes a difference, and we're really grateful for your leadership in this fight. And please know that our office is always here to support you and to elevate your concerns. And I just want to thank you again for telling your stories, because they were very powerful.
Well, I want to thank you for saying that. And I just want to express one concern I have. The reason why I brought up the work requirement bills is because they seem to be sort of flying under the radar. I don't hear a lot of people talking about them. And the same with, for instance, there's also a bill that was introduced in the Senate to terminate the Department of Education. And it's like, I'm just wondering if should be doing something about these things. I know the bill process takes a while, but no one is talking about that. And I guess I'm wondering if we should be doing something about the bills.
Yeah, I mean, I would say write to your members of Congress specifically, because the more we get, I mean, I can't speak for those specific bills. I have to take a look at those, but I know I manage the mail program here in the Congressman's office, and the more mail that we get about a specific bill, it like flags it on our radar. So like certainly I would encourage all of you to get your friends to go to the members' websites and flag this bill for them specifically.
So I will just say that they've nominated as Secretary of Education for the country the woman who owns the World Wrestling Federation. She's now in charge of the Department of Education. I brought her into my office. I sat her down before her confirmation hearing. I sit on the Education Committee in the Senate. So I sat her down in front of me and I asked her these questions. I asked her, are you going to cut Title I money for poor kids across the country? She said, well, I'm going to have to study it. Do you agree with President Trump that we should abolish the Department of Education? She said, we're going to have to study it. So then I said to her, what about the federal aid for kids with disabilities in schools across the country? Will you at least oppose that? And she said to me, I'll have to study that. And so it was with the greatest of enthusiasm on the floor of the Senate that I voted no on her as the Secretary of Education in the United States. Because ultimately, let's be honest, if you cut out all that funding that comes from the federal government for kids with disabilities in school, it's going to go right on the top property tax bills of people. And then there'll be big debates in cities, and the poorer cities will go, we don't have any more money. The wealthier communities, they might be able to do it, but how many of these kids live in communities that just won't be able to fund it? But of course, if you kick Donald Trump in the heart, you're going to break your toe. So that's why your stories are just so important. We've got, 15 million people in America have disabilities. 15 million. 15 million people. And your stories that I just listened to, they're just so powerful. But there's 15 million other stories. And they're all powerful. So, so to the extent to which, we've got an incredible community which is out there, which, needs to have their voices heard, people just have to know that so many are on Medicaid, and we're gonna need that to protect that funding. So I thank you, so much for telling your stories. I'm gonna be, I voted against Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as the Secretary of Health and Human Services. He was not giving us the correct answers. I asked him about cuts to Medicaid and Medicare, and he said he would do whatever Donald Trump told him to do. He was unbelievable when I asked him that question. So that's essentially where we are and what we have to do, and I'm cognizant of the fact that in Massachusetts, there are 393,000 of you with disabilities. And I'm very cognizant of that fact, and I brought that into every single meeting because you're on Medicaid and you need help, and I'll try to do it for you. And I'll work with the rest of the delegation to accomplish that as well.
And I just want to also put on, you might already know about this, but I want to put on your radar about Senate Bill 899, which is a bill to terminate the Department of Education. But I guess I want to hear from Adam from Warren's office if he has.
Can I just say,
Yeah, sure.
I've got to run, but I thank all of you for your stories. I'll remember them. I'm going to remember them. I'm going to bring them to the Senate floor. You'll have my voice repeating what I just heard here today. So thank you all so much for your leadership on this issue. Just keep going. Don't agonize, organize. Get your friends. Get everyone in the community to speak up. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Markey.
Thank you so much.
Hello. Yeah, so, essentially, we're on board with you all. Senator Warren is a very strong supporter of maintaining and protecting Medicaid. Um, like it's really scary what we're seeing right now. Republicans really seem prepared to cut Medicaid to pay for their tax cuts on billionaires. Um, um, but we're really fighting to kind of put as much pressure on them as possible to not cut Medicaid. We're, really trying to do whatever we can to make the public, both the public and also like, you know, moderate Republicans also aware that cutting Medicaid is unpopular. It would harm so many people, including so many people with disabilities. Um, and yeah, it's really something that we are really, we're really fighting on. We're on your side.
Thank you, Adam. Adam, I just wanted to say also that with Medicaid and people living in the community, it actually costs less dollars than putting them into institutions. So I think that's important to remember as well, and to be able to let other people know that, it's not like we have the luxury of having the catalog of everything because you have MassHealth. We actually are saving money by keeping people in our community, having them when they can work, be volunteering and living in our community and paying taxes. So trying to contribute back and not just be what many people might think of as like the burden of society. So that I just wanted to make sure that we use that as a way to also advocate.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Cutting Medicaid would yeah, it would be counterproductive, like also because states would end up like paying more through like the social safety net and criminal justice system, and it just kind of like when people are getting the care and support that they need, that reduces all kinds of other costs, and in addition to just being evidently the right thing to do, of course, for anyone with a heart. Absolutely. So thank you for all of your advocacy on this.
Unfortunately, I don't think there are many people down there right now that have a heart.
Yeah, it's very it's crazy. It really boggles the mind how yeah, heartless it all can seem. Yeah.
Jossie, doing a
you.
time check here. It's
Oh.
5:14.
Yeah, so we probably should. This is a very fascinating discussion, and I hope we have more discussions like this. But I think we need to begin to wrap this up. So I want to thank everyone for coming, the delegates, my fellow citizen members, the staff, everyone who shared their stories. And again, I mean, as a follow up to this forum, we're going to be emailing all of you, the delegates. We're going to email you with a slide deck or according to today's forum, so you can review it, or people can see it who weren't able to come. Also, you'll be getting a sort of a toolkit with a fact sheet and a story library that you can share with your colleagues on the Hill on both sides of the aisle. And this was a great conversation. I hope these continue. So you should stay in touch. We should stay connected. We're a valuable resource. We can be expert. We can provide expert testimony. We can do research and analysis, technical support, and so let's stay connected and let's work together. And thanks for coming. And if anyone has to go, they can. But well, I guess that's that. Well, I guess it's over. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.